Welcome once again. We are still continuing with our discussion on the different worldviews. We have discussed the African traditional worldview. We have also talked about the Islamic worldview, and we're also talking about the Hindu worldview and what they teach. And with the Hindu worldview, the understanding is that there is only one true reality. And this ultimate reality is the Brahman, the infinite impersonal existence. And they believe that the human soul or self is the Atman, which is really just a manifestation of Brahman. Thus, all reality is within us, not external to us. Knowledge is within us. Reality, truth is within us. So that means that we either break it or allow it to come out. Break it or allow it to come out. Now they believe that the major gods such as Vishnu and Krishna, their manifestation is actually part of the reality, a perception of Brahman, part of the reality that they are talking about. Brahman is the creator according to them, Vishnu the sustainer or the developer, and Shiva the destroyer. Now the sustainer, the destroyer, and the developer have something in common. When we talk about the African tradition, you find that some of these things come as if they are cross-cutting. And merging our Atman with the Brahman is the only true way of releasing from suffering of this world. Now the question is, if reality is from within, to them the solution is, if you merge Atman with Brahman, is the only true way of releasing people or the world from suffering. They say that we are limited by the concept of an individual self. We ourselves, you and me, have a component that has, it's, let's say, self-contained. So we either enable ourselves or limit. And they say we are limited by the concept of an individual self, most clearly seen by the bodily forms. Most clearly seen by the bodily forms. They believe that we live in a cycle through Surama and a whole hierarchy of castes. They also say that we build up enough karma. When we build up enough karma, goodness over badness, to reach Atman reality and merge with Brahman, is when we can solve some of the problems, building goodness and badness. Now this takes us back to when we are talking about the Islamic worldview, observing the 7 pillars, the 5 pillars. We also go back to the African traditional worldview, appeasing the gods. They have something in common here. And they say that wisdom is the ultimate goal that is built up by a flash of inspiration or enlightenment. This enlightenment leads us to coming out of ignorance. Now, when you look at philosophy, sources of knowledge, epistemology, sources of knowledge, and how knowledge is acquired, one of the sources of knowledge is inspiration, and sometimes you call it telepathy. Is inspiration. We inspire, it is inspired knowledge or intuitive knowledge. Now this intuitive knowledge, according to the Hindu, is developed as a result of enlightenment or inspiration. It is inspired knowledge. Inspiration means that with or without your contribution, this will come supernaturally. So to the Hindu person, there is need for inspiration, and for one to be inspired, he needs to prepare himself. And for this, they have 4 main paths towards enlightenment or inspiration, and each path is a type of what they call yoga. Now there is a way they see it. I will give you a video of yoga, then you will see from that angle. they will sit in a way that is quite very relaxing, but it gives them an opportunity to connect with a spiritual world or another world. And having to do that, it gives them an opportunity to release themselves from the reality that is inborn. The way of yoga, selfless action, or the confused knowledge or philosophical research or wisdom, all of these that I've just talked about are released as a result of inspiration. Number 3 is spiritual knowledge. Spiritual knowledge, physical exercises and meditations. When you sit, you find someone holding the hands and the legs crossed, seated, the back a little bit raised, and you actually think this person is in the rain or something like that. But that is one way, the path to enlightenment. The other path is the path of devotion to service. Devotion to service. These are the 4 main paths of enlightenment according to them. That is when their reality is released. The way of yoga, knowledge, or philosophical search and wisdom. Philosophical search, epistemology, research is part of it. Then the spiritual knowledge and the path of devotion. Those are the main 4 paths of knowledge. Now, when you look at how the Hindu perceive what the problem is and the solution is thereof, you find that the problem is we ourselves are part of the problem. And for us to solve this problem, we must release ourselves through those 4 main components that I've just enlisted. Now, what is common around all these worldviews is 1, the question of self and our ability to release ourselves is very common. Unlike in the Christian worldview, where the teaching is that man has sinned and he needs redemption, all these worldviews, apart from the Christian one, you have to take part specifically, take personal effort. Christianity, on the other hand, calls us to submission to God through Jesus Christ. Much as it is a self-action, it is not done by us. It is a conviction that comes by Jesus Christ, because we believe that Jesus Christ did it once and for all. You cannot do anything to release yourself from trouble, but all that is done by Jesus. All you have to do is to submit. So when you look at these 3 worldviews that we have already talked about, they explain how the problem comes to the world and how this problem can be sorted. So with this in mind, I want to implore you to look more critically at these slides and the work that we have uploaded in videos, to think through it and make your own judgment of how best can you help a person who has come from a Hindu worldview to appreciate that the Christian perspective can offer a better solution than the Hindu worldview. I welcome you to another worldview which we call the Buddhist worldview. Thank you very much.